Today we're unboxing 10 statues in 10 minutes, showcasing the entire Akatsuki members and a huge 10 Tails Husk base that brings them all together. And here is that crazy base coming in at about 55 pounds. Now this is made by Stone Custom or ST Studios. And though it's not confirmed, I do believe it might be a branch off of Surge Studio. We'll see why later. Awesome different textures and details packed into the Husk's body. And multiple different flat surfaces all around to house different statues later on. And the head was the only thing sculpted separately on this. Now, if we look on the back side, we'll see that's where the battery cartridge is to light up the effect on the front. The jawline, and honestly seeing this whole statue come to life is super creepy. Not something I ever expected to see made. Look at them teeth poking out. And on the center eye up here, we'll see there is a little bit of damage. Some paint did come chipped off. I'll probably have my brother help me to get that fixed up. Not too big of a deal. And it goes right there on the center. We'll get some batteries inside to see the effect as well. And there it is, the glorified base that will house 10 different other statues that we'll be jumping into right now. For those that might be new to the channel, my favorite statue of all time is Surge Studio Paint, and this statue is like a micro representation of that very statue. Every statue shown today does come with a gold edition size coin with a picture of the character on the front and the number on the back. I'm only going to show it for this statue though, not the rest. Also an acrylic stand to house that. On the top is a giant Chibaku Tensei or planetary devastation with 9 tails popping out all over. Tons of dust, dirt, and rubble effects on there, and on the back of the statue is a giant hole. That's going to be where some LEDs are going to be inserted later, but awesome detail in this. If you're a fan or have seen the Surge Studio Paint, you'll know this is, again, almost like an exact representation of that statue. The big hole on the front is going to be for none other than Nine Tails Kurama himself, just popping out of the Chibaku Tensei. Now, holding him in my hand, you might think to yourself, this is much smaller, a different scale than I'm used to showcasing. It is. It's titled a WCF scale. We'll go over exactly what that is in just a little bit. But on the back is another one of those giant cloud or dust particle effects that's connected to the LED or battery pack. And to turn it on, there's actually a hidden switch on the cloud that you can press right there. That little rock turns everything on. I'm not a fan of powering LEDs with batteries. I usually prefer like the USB switches, but this one unfortunately did not come with that option. As you may be assuming, this is obviously a pain statue, so let's bring in the Deva Path of Pain. You'll notice his head is a little bit larger than his body. That goes along with the WCF scale. So for these, you're able to pack in a lot of details for the character, the dioramas, the jutsu, and not break the bank because they're not huge, heavy, or expensive overall. I say not expensive, but that's only in comparison to the larger scale statues that are usually around $800 to $1,000 shipped, while this one might be around $200. Dimming the lights and pressing that button on the back will see the LEDs look incredible for this piece. Let's go ahead and get him installed on the 10 tails. Next up, we have Konan and Kisame. He comes with this ugly, weird scroll in the water shark bomb's mouth, thankfully removable, but getting up close to him, we can see again tons of details they're able to pack in. Samehada looks great. The one thing that impresses me the most with these statues is the fact that they have so much that they pack into there detail-wise. They don't miss anything, even though it's super small, super tiny. A lot of it is probably hand-painted overall. For now, I'll put the ugly scroll back in the mouth. I'll probably end up putting it back in the box later. But Konan is one of the most simplistic of the Akatsuki shown today with the watery and paper bomb base on the bottom and the angel wings, of course, on top. Look at that giant spear she's holding. Her and Pain were the first 2 statues they released, and I remember telling myself I'm only going to get those 2 because he resembles one of my favorite statues I've ever had, so I always want to have, a smaller version in my collection, but here we are today. I'm a sucker for collecting and completing lines of statues. Now here we have a representation of Lord Jashin that Hidan did serve. So we never really saw it in the show, but this is what they came out with. We have the kind of the ghouls, so like they're popping out of the bottom there, and the main figure in the center holding what looks like to be like a voodoo doll. We have the scythe with some blood on there, crazy cool looking. But again, we never saw this in the show that I recall or anywhere else. Hidan was sculpted as all one piece. A lot to take in here. We got his pendant, his headband. We have that little spear he uses. He's licking some blood off of there. And his scythe or sickle sitting on the back. Just amazing. Again, everything they were able to pack into this. I have to say his skin tone is a little bit more tan than I would expect. I expect it to be more white. But here is the first part of the zombie duo. Next up is going to be Kakuzu. The base on the bottom does remind me of the battlefield where he faced off against Team 10, Naruto, and Kakashi. And here we can see his arm is outstretching. Most of his robe is pretty much being blown away because of all the things that's going to be popping out of his back. I'm still waiting for somebody to make a statue of him in his final release form, but here we can see the lightning and also either the wind or water mask. Can't recall which one exactly. And the other 2 and also the fire mask here. Now let's go ahead and get everything assembled. Here is the final. Looks amazing, really dynamic, a lot going on. I love that they do balance with these statues having a little bit of diorama, jutsu, and definitely character representation going on. The giveaway for this video is going to be for one graded card of your favorite Akatsuki member. All you need to do is be subscribed to the channel with the notification bell on, like this video, and leave a comment below on who your favorite member is. The winner will have their comment pinned on the same day I upload my next video in a week or two. Up next is one of my personal favorites, being that it's a puppet jutsu user, because I've always loved that in this series. So we have the Haruko puppet on the bottom, some iron sand on that left section. Not too much to say about Sasori. His pose is very classic and standard. He's going to be standing right on top of the puppet as well. On the larger Surge Studio statue, he had a bunch of his puppet army on top. For this one, we do have the third Kazekage puppet on top, so pretty cool. We got the iron sand spewing out of the left and right sides as well. You can see some poison dripping down some of those blades too. In order to attach him to the base, we do have some more iron sand that's going to go in the bottom, and it's going to give off of that nice effect like he's floating in midair. A very nice and balanced statue. Let's bring in his artistic rival, Deidara. We can see some clay eagles on the bottom, explosions, some clouds in the back as well. Definitely a perfect diorama and setup for him. Now for this statue, it is pretty exciting to have the fully sculpted clay dragon that'll be standing on top of nice little bits of shading going on there. The tail part is removable because that's what you need to do in order to mount him on top of the vase. With that installed, here is Deidara. Such a perfect pose for him. You can just hear him screaming "cuts" as he's in midair. The way the hair flows as well as the cloak looks great. Both of these statues have a nice yin and yang feel where the character's on the top for one and on the bottom for the other. Definitely look forward to, in a few weeks, a full showcase of all of my larger scaled Akatsuki statues. That is something that's been in the works for probably 4 or 5 years now. So looking forward to having all of those together. Again, the larger scale ones. So here we have Itachi. We can see the Uchiha clan symbol on that bottom section and the main body of a Susanoo. If you've been around my channel for a few years now, you might have remembered the full-scale version of the statue by Surge Studio. Pretty much a very similar or same position. Here we have the Yata mirror, and also for this statue, we do have the Totsuka blade as well. In the shoulder sockets of each one, there is a magnet installed that it does attach very easily to the left and right side of the Susanoo. This one is begging for some LEDs, but unfortunately it does not have any installed on there. Here we can see Itachi, nice little crow popping off the shoulder there. Just like Sasori, we do have him in more of a classic position or pose, with him walking forward, one hand inside of the cloak, just resting. And that is our 8th member. We have 2 more to go after him. Looking forward to seeing good old Tobi and Zetsu. Thankfully, they decided to go with a more goofy and silly pose. We can see him holding one of Deidara's bombs while running it or booking away. I love all the details they captured in his mask. Again, I'm just blown away with how much details and how crisp these statues are for being such a smaller scale. Now, the base or diorama has some awesome little things going on there. It looks like the Uchiha clan stone tablet on the bottom, one of the warps that he comes in and out of sometimes. And on the top, we have these little tags, kind of random with those sitting up top there, I'm not gonna lie. This one's definitely a lot more simple than some of the others we've seen because Zetsu's is crazy complicated. We can see the God Tree with also the Infinite Tsukiyomi on top. I love how they're going to light this up because on the bottom are some LEDs. We'll pull out the little battery blocker, and on top, look at how this thing lights up. This was the last statue in the line or series, so they definitely spared no expense with it. Kind of reminds me of how Pain's was, just a lot of different functionality that goes into the statue itself. But here's a little notch on the side. We'll see some other Zetsu clones that are going to be attached there. Speaking of, we'll go ahead and show you the first one they have. Big old giant blade on that arm there, and he has no feet because he's going to be attaching to the trees like he's coming out of it. The second one here, the chest cavity is opened up, kind of crazy looking for this one. But again, another one that's mounted to the side, and the main Zetsu is right here. Easily one of my least favorite characters in the entire series, but you can't deny that they did a great job with him, at least on the statue. I still can't believe that I ended up getting every single one. Honestly, what hooked me is when I saw that they were going to make a base that brings everything together. It was going to be undeniably cool to see it all assemble like we did in this video today. With these last 2 installed, we'll go ahead and take a step back and watch everything assemble all together. What a beauty seeing all these statues come together today. If you enjoyed this video today, I know you will enjoy this one as well. And as always, I'll see you in the next. Do what you love and love what you do. Bam out.